Want to know what the movers and shakers of New Hampshire's performing arts are thinking? Welcome to New Hampshire Unscripted with your host, Ray Dudley.
And in this second part of my sit-down with Donald Tung of New World Theatre, he walks me through what the future evolution of New World Theatre looks like. And he also takes me behind the scenes into the playwriting process that they use over there, which is crazy intensive. Wait till you hear what they go through. Stick around. It's coming up. Let me ask you, if you don't mind me stopping here for a second.
Yep.
What is the ultimate goal for yourself, I guess? Maybe the answer differs for playwrights. Mm-hmm. Are you hoping to have a play that goes to Broadway, or ultimately gets that type of recognition, or are you satisfied with just freeing it out into the world? You've unencumbered your soul with mm-hmm. this work, mm-hmm. and you're very proud of it now, and you can let it go. Mm-hmm. What, as a playwright, what's your goal there?
Funny you should ask that. It's almost like you set me up here. So, this coming season, we're kind of, actually, 2019 is the first year since 2015 I haven't actually produced a production. Oh. I'm just realizing this, first calendar year in a while that I haven't. We've been doing these workshop productions at the Hatbox,
right,
where we take somebody's work and put it on its feet, script in hand, minimal blocking, minimal sets, minimal props, just to get a feel for how it's working. And we did that. They had us scheduled for every other month. This year we're only doing 4, just because it's
too much.
It was too much, yeah. And my feeling is, you can do the stage readings, with the music stands and have somebody read directions, but it just doesn't make the connection quite as well as really just trying to, see how it works on its feet. Even though the actors are stumbling around with the scripts in their hand, it gives you a sense of what can be, where this can go. So, but that obviously takes a little more than just sitting behind music stands and reading the play. Right. so yeah, that's been kind of a big, I wouldn't say a heavy lift, but it's been a lift to kind of get those ready this year. So while we haven't done a full production, I think we've done sort of mini half productions throughout the year. So this year, I have seen changes next summer, but we have some really good plays in the works that I'm excited about. And we're hoping to put them out there in the festival universe for New York. New York has a number of festival ways, putting your work in the festival in New York City. One is called Broadway Bound. It's sort of a new one that I forget how many plays they do. It's still pretty new, but they do it in August each year. So we're hoping to submit those for that festival and see what happens. I've been actually, since we're coming into another presidential campaign season, in case anybody missed it.
The pain.
That's right. I know. I'm breaking news. And something, candid candidate, it should be, something that some theaters might be interested in. So I submitted, kind of putting it out there, and I sent it to a producer in New York who I didn't meet her this summer. As mentioned, I went to a producer's workshop in New York City, but through that connection, I came across this producer, and I sent her Candid Candidate, and a week later got back together with her, and she goes, I want to do an off-Broadway production of this. And I'm like, okay.
I know him.
So that's where we are right now. I'm going to talk with her later today. She's really excited about it.
Yeah?
She really loves the piece. She loves the whole thing about women empowerment, women in leadership, sort of challenging those roles. So I've been in negotiations a little bit with her and talking to some entertainment lawyers, talking to some GMs, and just seeing what we can do. So that's
pretty damn exciting.
Big news that, definitely have some interest in making this, going to Broadway.
And
whether it'll happen
Candid
or
Candidate.
Not, this is Candid Candidate. Actually calling it Candid Candidate 2020 edition.
Gotcha.
So
New scandals.
New scandals, that's right. And actually, her name's Kate Camerata is the producer. She's also a dramaturge. So I've been working with her a little bit on reworking the script, reworked the ending of it, which is really coming out great. I'm really happy with it. And
are these major changes or just minor tweaks to the way things?
Primarily minor tweaks. Originally I'd written it so that you had the second to last scene was the presidential debate between the two candidates, and then we had the audience vote on the candidates, and so depending on the audience vote determined what last scene you saw.
So it was a real debate then. I mean,
so yeah,
kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, it's forced, but
right, it's
yeah.
forced, but the audience got to vote, and then the last scene was sort of a ba-dum-bump of who won and who lost, and the actual last scene was focused on the loser rather than the winner. Kind of
good.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
That's a nice twist.
That twist, you're not. So her first comment was, "Well, you can't do that on Broadway. You can't have an audience vote and then decide, where the last scene is." And so we're talking about how.
Wait, why can't this is 2019,
Well, yeah.
2020?
Okay,
they got Spider-Man flying over audiences.
Yeah.
Ships coming out of water. They got helicopters
Right,
landing.
yeah. There's always apps you could put on their phones, and
You can't have an audience vote.
We probably could have managed it.
You need me as your manager.
Well,
That's what you need here.
No. Well, again, this is where I love the pushback. So I took, and this is where I've worked with Stuart Spencer for years, and he'll give me a suggestion. I'll just totally rip apart the play and come up with something new next time. And he's just like, yeah, okay, you took my. And if I have to throw away hundreds of pages, I'm the kind of writer who doesn't mind throwing away material.
Man,
I will just to explore something new.
Gutsy. Yeah.
To explore something new, to see where it goes, see how it develops. I think you got to do that. You can't just say, "Oh no, it's in stone, it's done."
Mm-hmm.
Sam Shepard famously said, none of his plays were finished.
Oh, really?
He said, I could take any of my play and just, rewrite the heck out of it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I read that, I said, yeah, man, I feel the same way. I never feel like a play is totally finished. It is just, there's always something you can do more or change something or, bring out something new.
This gets back to your point earlier, though, where you at some point have to say, I cannot relook
I
at that.
can't read it. I can't
stop.
Yeah, it's one of those tough things. So yeah, her pushing me to do this, and again, I agree. I said, I could have said, let me do this, let me do that, and maybe we can make it work. I said, okay, let me take her suggestion and think about what could be the final scene of the play. And again, so we have, and it's funny because you have John McCoy and Bob Roberts at the beginning as the two candidates who are looking to win their party's nominations for the presidency. Mm-hmm. In the end, we have Judith McCoy running with Celia Roberts, the wife of the other candidate, and we have Bob Roberts running with the husband, John McCoy. So your choices are McCoy Roberts or Roberts McCoy.
Oh, I love it. I like the dynamic.
Yeah. So it's like, is it Roberts McCoy? I mean, I wrote the damn thing. What can I say?
Yeah. You're good.
I wrote the darn thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, McCoy Roberts is that's Judith.
Trying to keep that straight.
That's straight. Yeah. So I love that. It just has this soul. It's like you go into the voting booth. Oh, is it McCoy Roberts or Roberts McCoy?
Yeah.
And she pushed me, and I said, okay, let me think about a last scene. The last scene is both couples in a hotel suite watching the results together.
I love
you
it.
have the two parties watching the results together. Don't you love? Yeah.
Yeah. Husband and wife.
Yeah. Husband and wife. They're running against each other, and they're watching the results come in together.
That's cool.
It almost, and in some ways,
no, you don't ever find the results, do you?
No.
Good.
No.
Thanks.
And in some ways, how we talk about how, Republicans, Democrats, they're all the same. This almost like puts it into that into that picture
for sure.
Of they're just kind of hanging out, they're waiting to see what happens, throw the dice.
That's nice.
So that was a perfect example of where I could have said, no, I like the way it is, but no, I said, okay, I'll try something new and see how it works out. And honestly, I feel like it's Much better, 100% better. Yeah.
So is it a 4-person cast, or are there other characters involved?
It's a big cast. It's 10 total.
Oh.
7 principals and 3 ensemble. You play a host of characters. It's some really fun ensemble pieces. Newscasters, security guard, all sorts of ex-CIA security guard, which is a really fun. Mike Perry played that at the Hatbox. Yeah. Fantastic.
Now he's driving a truck.
Yeah, where are you, Mike? Come on back. Shouldn't just mention one. So Deirdre played Judith McCoy in both productions. Larry Pizza played Bob Roberts, the no BS candidate, and had Kelsey Domine play in one production Celia Roberts, and Jane Button played.
She's an all-star cast, for crying out loud.
Yeah, some great people.
Wow.
Dave Affleck and Jackie
Collins.
Jackie Coffin.
I'm sorry.
Played young assistant Rachel, and Aaron Campagna played Neil, the sort of analyst.
It's a who's who.
Yeah. It was great production. So it's going to be hard to replace those people, but we'll see what happens.
So how
in
much
New York.
work now is this?
God.
You have other things, obviously, that you're still working on.
Yeah.
And how much time is this consuming for you?
So let me throw out thank you, Jackie and Toby. They're stepping up to help kind of run things on New World Theater stuff.
Oh, they are.
We still have workshops and stuff going on and different things going on. So they've kind of stepped into my management roles there. So talking to lawyers and GMs and all that kind of stuff is taking up a good bit of time, and trying to coordinate what's going to be our next steps and see where it goes.
It's funny, you don't think about all that background stuff when you consider a play, and you hope it goes to Broadway or whatever in New York.
God.
And you start enumerating, I need a lawyer.
Right, you need a lawyer, you need a general manager to kind of, figure out your budget, what's the theater going to cost, what's the actors going to cost, director, having, looked at, directors yet. We had some people, she has some people in mind, but going to kind of wait to see how things shake out, in just the initial stages here.
You have a target date?
2020.
That's pretty nebulous.
Good. Yeah, it'd be kind of good, if we could get it, up before the election.
Yeah.
It's kind of a hope, but it's.
Do you see it happening in that time frame?
That's what we're working towards.
Yeah.
That's what we're working towards. See if we can get some other producers interested, as far as putting the necessary resources, aka money,
makes the world go around
into the well. So that's really where we are now. It's the very early stages. We'll see, but it's just exciting, to have somebody read your work and say, gosh, I want to see this on Broadway.
Yes.
So yeah.
Well, because that's your dream. I mean, even subconsciously, don't people want to have their stuff?
What I'd like, and this is where I see New World Theater going, is being a company that helps to nurture new works, get them on their feet, and then see if we can, push them into a bigger space.
Yeah.
Like New York or something. Not that New Hampshire isn't that big.
I know.
We love New Hampshire. But what a great environment here with so much talent.
Yeah.
To be able to kind of use and be able to kind of work out things here before taking them to the bigger world is a great resource. And I'm hoping that while I certainly want to help local writers and things like that, like through my master class where I had people come from all over the country and Canada, just have New Hampshire become a place where people go, oh yeah, that's a place where we can go work our plays and get them on their feet and see what's happening.
And now you become a conduit for potential things that float to the top, the good ones that start floating up.
Exactly.
They don't have to reinvent the wheel or go figure it all out.
Right.
You become the resource.
Right. We become the grease the gears, kind of thing that helps them, get past whatever they're dealing with and put it out there.
Are you hoping to be a start to finish kind of a house where you will, or do you want to only take things that have maybe already kind of been have hit the stage somewhere somehow and then need to be repolished?
No, we're working things, brainstorming ideas to putting it on stage, kind of stuff. Again, with our collective, we kind of sit around, pitch ideas to each other, you know,
Drink beer.
See what happens. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get some pizza and beer, and you know, great ideas.
A lot of ideas.
A lot of ideas. That's fantastic.
Not necessarily good ones, but a lot of them.
That's right. But you know, this is the place to to try them out and see if what flies and what not.
Well, and then but what's really additionally nice is you have a place like the Hat Box where you can take these to, and it's very non-confrontation. In other words, it's not like you got to rent the Audi or go to the CCA and try to.
Right. No, it's a great space for this kind of thing, where a nice intimate space, right there with the audience, and you kind of just lay it out there either in workshop or full production, and see what happens. And then looking at publishing them, So I from the start when I started it, I said, well, you know what, you can start with developing it, producing it, and publishing it.
Yeah.
And right now, I've left the licensing to the playwrights. It states in the books that if you want to produce any of these works, contact the playwright. Unless you want to produce the whole piece, like say somebody wants to produce all 8 plays, then I do offer the ability to seek the license through New World Theater, and then we'll negotiate with all the playwrights, rather than have them individually negotiate with all the playwrights.
Yeah. I love this entrepreneurial spirit. I really
do. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And again, I really, I put together Unparalleled this summer. It's a little bit pulling teeth trying to get the scripts from the playwrights. It's like, I need your script so I can edit it. And put it in. It's like, oh.
Well, there's a lot of work that goes into publishing a book, by the way. It's not like cut and paste and then just stick it up there in Kindle.
No, I doggedly go through it and format it and get it, in a nice format. And I love, I love the art of editing. Is actually a lot of fun.
Okay, that's sick.
Yeah, I know. But it's fun to see the beauty that ends up on the page.
I get it.
There's a certain amount of artistic presentation to the way the work lays out on the page that I just, when I get it right, it's like, I'll look at something on a page and I'm like, if I just move this dialogue, there it is, just. As you said, it's a little sick.
No, because I happen to know, because I have a small book that's out there on Amazon, and I know the agonizing. You can, if you change one point of punctuation, it can shift a whole page.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
All of a sudden, the page is blank.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like, where did that page come from?
Yeah.
And it definitely costs something per page too.
Yes.
The more pages, you're not.
That's true.
Cutting into your revenue.
That's correct. So these are up there on Amazon?
They're on Amazon, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, those 3 works. And we're hoping, again, we've done mostly collections. I'm hoping within the next year we'll be actually putting out some full-length plays. I'm actually hoping to do... I like to do Candidate. I think we have some other ones that would be...
Is self-publishing again? You're going to stay away from like the Frenches and the...
drama. French comes to me in their drama book club or whatever. They want to do it, then sure. But I enjoy getting the work out there and not necessarily waiting for the knock on the door.
Yeah.
I think as an artist, you have to decide that I'm going to put it out there and let the audience, let the public decide.
So I would like to have you back later because there's some things I want to talk to you about, like how do you market this? How are you finding an audience? Because I know that you have to put these, at least mine did, have to go into a category, a subcategory, or several subcategories. And I know you look at the numbers and see if anybody's buying them or how they're going.
Oh, yeah.
And I know monthly you can get a statement from Amazon. But I'd like to talk to you about that kind of stuff too, because you're paving the way here for a lot of people to be innovative like this. I mean, when you are doing kind of an end around a little bit of like French's or whoever else, you're taking on the giants in a way, but this is fascinating. I love this kind of stuff.
And I've been trying to do it, in a very, not necessarily putting out a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Because I want the quality that we produce to be known as, okay, this is
I get that.
This is worth putting in a book, and not just, I'll do your play, whatever.
Right.
So yeah, trying to raise a certain level of quality that we'll be known for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would be great. I really do hope that you start to get people who start picking these up.
Oh yeah, we are. Numbers aren't great, but they sell.
That's okay.
They do sell.
Oh yeah.
Here and there, yeah.
Well, it can reach that point, that tipping point, right? So hopefully, if enough people start seeing it and doing it, and
yeah.
I mean, how often do we see a group announce their season, and then the next year there's 9 other groups doing plays kind of called from that past season because people like it, and
right, yeah.
So this would be a great way to get these out there, and I really do hope that happens.
Slowly building. This is only our 5th season we're going into, and so we got published works. We've done master class.
God, you're so busy.
Looking at going to New York potentially. Sometimes it may seem a little bit scattershot, but I think it's good not to just kind of pigeonhole into one thing. Yeah. We are. Our mission is only new works, only developing, publishing new works. That is our pigeonhole, but it allows for so much diversity in what we can do with and just that. Yeah. And I think that's our mission.
But who's your competition?
Well, that's the thing. When I look at why create another theater company, it's like everyone, their brother wants to create another theater company.
I know,
it's great. People want to put it out there, but I think that's a serious question to ask. What's your niche? What are you doing that nobody else is doing? And I think we've clearly settled that is that we're doing things that you've never heard of before because the ink is still wet.
Are you hoping to take them to other smaller theaters like the Players Ring? And
interesting to say. I did do a production out at the Players Ring of Patrick Average's play Lab Rats a couple summers ago in their late night series out there.
Yes,
kind of a tough slot, but did that out there. We were actually doing Bill Iver's play Places You Go at the Bedford off Broadway. Is going to produce that in their 2021
in their main
spring 21
season? Nice.
Spring 2021, so a year from next spring. It's kind of planned out quite a number of works ahead, so we're looking forward to that. A few other works that we're doing that we're working on. I mentioned Scene Changes, which is in production. We got Places You Go by William Ivers at Bedford off Broadway, but there's 2 plays that we're tentatively hoping to get into our schedule. One is 9/12 by Walter Freeman, about the day after 9/11. Husband and wife were trying to have a birthday party for their child the day after 9/11. The great thing about it is that, so what's the action? The action is, darn it, we're going to hold on to normalcy. Screw what happened yesterday. We're going to have a normal birthday party. We're going to have a normal family happening. Who's the antagonist? 9/11. The shadow of 9/11 over this whole thing just pulls it apart. Who's going to win? Is the family going to be able to hold on to normalcy and have a birthday party for their child, or are the events of the previous day just going to overshadow it? And
this is the piece I saw at your house, right?
Yes, that's right.
Cutting from it or something.
It's developed quite a bit since then.
It was beautiful then. I thought it was powerful then.
Thank you. Exactly. So we actually did another workshop production of it at the Hatbox in February that I directed. That really went well. Had a great cast for that. So we're hoping to do that tentatively next September, and so we're pulling together a cast for that.
Is that going to be the Hatbox? We can take that.
They're still got their pitch night, and we'll see. Yeah, okay. That's kind of our tentative we're shooting for, but we'll see how it goes with the pitch process. And then the other piece, which we actually did another workshop this August of, Holy and Unruly, about Queen Elizabeth, and I'm sure you're familiar with Grace O'Malley. Oh, you are?
Yeah, I know the name.
Do you know who she is?
No.
Okay. She was a piratess, Irish pirate captain, female Irish pirate captain of the 1500s. I believe. Give me if I get the period wrong, but way back. Yeah.
I know that name.
I'm sure you've heard the name Grace O'Malley. Yeah. But
so how do these two work together?
So there is a historic. It's known that Queen Elizabeth and Grace O'Malley met. There's a historic fact, that they met at some point. And that's about it. There isn't any much more about it than the fact that they meeting.
Yeah.
So the playwright that we've been working with recently, David Beardsley, he joined our collective last spring, wrote this play, sort of a historical fiction of what might have transpired between the Queen and Grace O'Malley in this meeting. And it's a great play of, you have on one hand the Queen, who is thrust into a role of leadership. She really doesn't have much of a choice about it, and is actually kind of walking a fine line among the men around her who are just looking for something to basically pull her down and take the throne. And then you have Grace O'Malley, who has earned her role as a pirate captain, and so has totally, it's not something that she is, fell into. She's actually earned the right to, lead her crew of pirates and whatnot. So it's an interesting dynamic between the two. And he kind of plays upon the fact that he feels like Queen Elizabeth sort of was envious of Grace in the way she had gained her power, as opposed to not being thrust into it. So it's interesting, very interesting play, interesting even for today, again, getting back to the role of women in power and how, that played out back in the 1500s and whatnot. And the whole palace intrigue and whatnot of that period. So it's a beautiful play that we hope to, again, tentatively looking at the spring of 2021 to produce that.
So neither of these plays have seen the light of day stage-wise?
Stage-wise, other than the workshops that we've done of them, yeah. So this will be their first premiere performances.
Are they both small cast?
No, not terribly. Yeah, no, they got half dozen or so.
Okay, well, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad, yeah. We're not talking, musical.
1776.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Some very interesting pieces that we're hoping to bring out in the coming months.
So these have been all through. These have been through your process. Is that?
Yeah. We. I was just going to show you.
Yeah.
This is the beat analysis that I did of 9/12. Just part of it.
Yeah.
I just printed out a part of the beat analysis. And again, it's just tearing apart. Looking at analyzing the characters, what they want, what their actions are, what's their purpose. Sometimes you can look at a character and go, what the heck are they doing here?
I have done that. I've looked at them.
That's right. You're going,
why are they
taking up space on stage?
Yeah.
So you really have to dive in and figure out, why is this character necessary? And so really tear it apart. You can see, all the different beats. The French beat, right? French beat is when someone enters or exits a room.
I did not know that.
Yeah, French beat is when, I'll say it again.
Yeah.
When someone enters a room or exits a room, that's considered a French beat. Because something's going to change. When somebody exits a room, some action has left the room. Somebody's not pursuing something now because they've left the room. Mm-hmm. Or when they enter the room, a new action has been introduced into the scene. So I sat down and just kind of blocked out. So pages 2 to 4, we have the opening exposition. We have Sue and Dan, the husband and wife, trying to prepare for this crazy party. And so what's the dynamic there? Okay. And then on page 4, Jack arrives, okay? Actually, we got Connie in the kitchen, so that's actually, there is somebody off stage, but that is kind of off stage. Anyway.
It's okay, yeah.
But you got to kind of think about these things. Anyway.
Yes.
So, but then page 4, Jack arrives, okay? So what's the point going on here? And so you got to kind of dig into that and say, okay, between pages 4 and 10, we got the Jack and Dan show, where they're just kind of chewing the beef. And this is where you dig into, are they circling around the same material over and over? Are we just hearing the same thing over? Are they introducing anything new? What's going on here?
Some of it has to be exposition as well, so that you're...
And that's the tricky part. How do you present exposition without it feeling like exposition? David Beardsley has one of the best things in his Wholly Unruly, where one of the characters, I think it's Queen Elizabeth, says, he's been measuring his arse for the throne for years, and beautiful. So now about this character is angling for the throne.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't have to say, oh, he's been wanting the throne for a year.
Last year he did this, and this year he did.
Right. Yeah. You don't go across,
It encapsulated it so well.
It encapsulates so well. I'm like, oh, my God, that's beautiful. Turn it into a joke, and you've given the audience all they need to know. This person's angling for the throne. And it's between two characters who, high context and low context characters. These are high context characters, meaning they know each other well. They know you don't have to explain. There's a shorthand of dialogue that goes on between these characters because they're not explaining, oh, this person wants the throne, because they both know it, and it's not something that's going to come up. So what a great way between two high context characters to kind of deliver that material without, I was just like, I realized it. So anyway, that's the kind of thing you just dig into, beat analysis.
So do you do this for every play?
Well, we just started doing this spring, and I've started doing it for my own plays, really just tearing them apart to just look at each little moment and say, gee, we've heard that before. Why are we covering this ground again? Mm-hmm. Because, again, as playwrights, you can kind of write and forget, oh, yeah, I really said that already, and so you kind of circle around sometimes, and you got to kind of weed those out. An inconsistency came out of this was at some point, because in this Jack and Dan scene, Dan says right up front, I've been watching the news. And then at some point, Jack asks him, have you seen the news? It's like, but again, as a playwright, you're like, oh, yeah, he said that earlier. And so by tearing it apart like this, you can find those little, inconsistencies and really dig into, where things aren't,
This is the fine-tuning, to me, of
a
play. This is crazy. I'm not crazy, but I mean, it's...
Well, it takes a lot of work.
This is the minutia of playwriting.
Playwriting, and we do different colors for things that aren't working, so you can kind of instantly see, go to the red. I did this in black and white, but the red, for things that, you are really kind of glaring that you got to kind of look at and attack. So, and Walter, he says, it's been great to have this resource to kind of go through and really see where things are working. And it helps that, I did it, as opposed to him, because just coming at it totally cold, and not totally cold, but it's...
Well, it's a neutral look at it.
It's a neutral look at it. So, that's the kind of, doggedly kind of things we get into.
So those beats that you spoke about, you go through each of those as well? I mean, entrance, exit, you go through all of those?
But, that's the French beat, but...
What are the beats you've got here? Are they not French?
These actually, because the way the play works, it actually kind of works out that most of them are French beats, that things are kind of changing when people come in and out of the room. But like my dramaturg says, there's I forget what play it is, but the wife comes in and asks the husband, do you love me? It's not Fiddler. That's the guy. Anyway, so her action is she wants to know, do you love me? She wants to answer. Of course, he's vague and, kind of does, doesn't quite answer it directly, but eventually answers it, okay? So, and it's like, a couple of lines of dialogue. That's a beat. She wanted to know, do you love me? Eventually, he gives her what she wants. That's the end of the beat. That's the event. That's the event that says, okay, she no longer has to pursue this action. And again, it's really minutiae, as you say, of what is driving this very little moment in the play. And so it doesn't have to be exits and entrances. It can be somebody is pursuing something, an action. Once that action has an event where that action is no longer being pursued because it's been resolved, that's the end of the beat, and then hopefully there's another beat, or maybe that leads to another beat, that resolution leads to another action.
This okay.
Yeah, I'm getting into the weeds.
I don't.
Into the weeds here.
Well, I'll make this like a two-parter because this is the stuff that I find really intriguing. The mechanics here of this type of thing, because I'm guessing so you've got this, a play is in your eyesight or in your mind is made up these series of events and moments. So you have one big event, which is the play, broken down into a series of smaller events, which could in themselves contain micro events that all have to be figured out, started and finished, so that they add on to the larger part, and the sum of those create a larger part. And so I think this is wonderful stuff for people who are thinking about playwriting. I mean, no one thinks about it. Most people don't think about this. Most people think, I'm just going to write a play. I'm going to write about, the burnt toast that we had this morning and the argument that created. And then, by the time we get to bed tonight, we'll have resolved it.
Arguments are the most uninteresting things between characters.
Good thing we got out of bed. We learned something.
Yeah, arguments, having characters. And again, this is where novice playwrights and writers, I think, get caught up in thinking, oh, that's drama. That is where, the action is. Somebody's arguing over something. What's the action is, I'm right, you're wrong. No, I'm right, you're wrong. And it just doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't pursue any long-term thing other than the fact that, once you win the argument, you've proven yourself. It can also be a little bit of a soapbox that you're letting, you're setting up sort of a straw man argument to kind of put across some political point or some, point of view about something. And so it just becomes kind of I call it just a soapbox kind of moment. So it just doesn't really work. In fact, when I direct, and then someone has sort of a contentious moment between each other, and they get really excited voices and talking really, I'm like, find a way to argue where you are just totally, find levels. Find a level within there, And that's what you have to do in the writing, too. You have to find levels that are not just beating the horse, as it were. I often think about, you're a kid and your parents were arguing. You want to just leave the room.
Right.
It's like, it's uncomfortable. Okay, you guys are arguing. I'm out of here. So arguments, and again, I go back to my dramaturge, Stuart, and he wrote a book called the Playwright's Guidebook, which is a really great resource for playwrights. Anyone interested in writing plays, get the Playwright's Guidebook, and it's one and done, as they say. But he expresses, totally that, he had written a play, I think he talks about in the book, and where brother and sister were arguing, and just realized it just wasn't working, and just pulling apart why it didn't work, and can't recall exactly what the resolution was, but yeah, I think it was about the brother had left and the daughter stayed home, and they got back together and they were arguing about why did you leave? Why didn't you take me with you, or something like that, and it just didn't go anywhere.
And so argument is not to be confused with conflict.
Right, exactly.
Even though it is a type of conflict. But
again,
conflict can drive a play.
Argument is almost, it's debate.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it kind of just reduces to a debate that you're having. It can be less than interesting.
Do we hit all your points?
Oh, gosh.
You got more? Dude, I got the clock.
Just throw this in here, but you have a new writer join our group, Kira Rockwell. Just graduated from Boston University's playwriting MFA program.
She's young?
Yeah, young lady. Went to, I can't remember the school in Texas she went to. Sorry, Kara. But then, did her MFA at BU, and has actually a play she wrote was a finalist in the O'Neill last year.
Really?
Yeah. So
that's impressive.
Yeah, nice piece she wrote, and we're hoping to maybe do one of her plays as part of a workshop production next summer.
Have you seen her work?
I have not seen it. I've read it.
Yeah.
I've been reading her work, and but yeah, she just recently.
Obviously, you must be impressed. You brought her on the team.
Yeah, definitely someone who, she's from Texas and has a good spirit about the process and everything. Mm-hmm. Which is what I'm glad we've gotten a group of people who are just so far, we just work so well together as far as being able to just really put it out there. And
what do you hope a new writer like her, not necessarily her, but a new writer like her is going to bring to the team? What can she add? What can a new person add?
Well, new perspectives on things. She definitely comes with a very young perspective. Mm-hmm. Writes, definitely works for younger performers in, just what she knows and what she's experienced. Actually has a fairly, very adept in being able to handle a fairly large number of people within the play. That's something that it's not easy to do. Either you have something going on between two characters, even to add a third in there or a fifth and try to, work the dynamics around it. But she does a good job of keeping everything, sort of all the pieces in the air and, juggling the different characters in a scene and whatnot. So I've been very impressed with that. The one play that we're hoping to do a reading of, Oh, to Be Pure Again, is an interesting piece. And one thing that I give her kudos for that I have a hard time with as some writers is finding distinct voices for each character. I don't know if you ever read plays and you go, who's this talking? Oh, yeah, you have to keep looking at the character names to figure out who's talking.
Shakespeare.
Okay. But, yeah, okay, yeah. But even in modern writers, I just find that the characters can tend to all sound the same. They can all sound like the writer.
Right.
And there's no real distinction. This is one thing that one of my early mentors pressed upon us, is trying to really find your character voice. And once you find that voice, you can write that character dialogue from here to Kingdom Come, because it just writes itself.
Mm-hmm.
Once you know how the character talks, how they interact with people, it just, that is the gold that you look for, is where the characters are just writing themselves. And she has that. She does a good job of finding those voices.
So do you feel after adding her that your team is close to optimal?
It certainly becomes a challenge the more we add, as far as being able to, be able to read people's stuff and interact and whatnot. And this is, I'll totally admit, this is kind of a, learn as we go kind of thing as far as how we manage this. I'd like to bring on more. I'm having ideas about doing some another master class with Stuart, and seeing if we can kind of develop that into a sort of a pipeline from master class to developing the works and then into a production. Again, if the works keep going,
right.
I mean, I think it's the kind of thing where we kind of have to decide, and if the benefit of or the what do you call it, riches. You get too many that are good. It's like, okay, now what do we do?
Well, that'd be a good problem to have.
That would be a good problem to have, and I've certainly have had that problem. But so it's kind of an idea that I'm toying with. Approached Stuart about doing like a 10-week master class with him online.
10 weeks, jeez.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, well, we're really digging into developing a whole full-length plays. We did the master class we did with him last time was just short works. We weren't trying to focus on full lengths at that point. And we're hoping to end up with short works so we could put it in a collection, but which we did.
Yep, right.
It worked out really well. And but I'd like to kind of focus on full lengths next time and see what we can find.
Yeah,
mounting.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people who can come up with 10 ideas a day and at least.
Yeah.
And
so what we need to do is get you back in here in a few months.
And there you go. Another great one in the tank. That one's going off to the memorial. Have a great day.